Smoke hung in the air like a shroud over the broken planet. The ground cracked beneath every step. Metal bones of fallen ships jutted out from the dust. Something terrible had happened here, but no one on the team spoke about it. They just moved forward, scanning with their rifles up. Private Ethan Voss had seen battle before, but nothing like this. His unit, Bravo 7, was sent to investigate strange signals from a long-dead war zone. No one expected survivors, not on this burned-out rock. Yet the signals were real, and they were growing stronger, pulsing through static like a heartbeat. Ethan adjusted his visor. "You guys seeing this?" he asked over comms. "Yeah," came Sergeant Clive's voice. "Keep your head down. The readings are off the charts." Ethan didn't respond. His eyes were locked on a shadow at the far end of the ridge. Something had just moved. The squad crept closer through twisted metal and scorched stone. As they reached the edge of a collapsed tower, Ethan paused. There it was again, movement, quick, heavy. He raised his rifle, finger tight on the trigger. Then it stepped into view. It wasn't human. At least not anymore. It stood taller than a tank, shoulders wide and hunched, with thick claws dragging beside it. Its skin shimmered like liquid armor. Its head was part skull, part beast. It didn't roar. It growled low and deep like a warning. And then she appeared behind it. The woman was just as strange. She had pale skin with faint golden veins glowing under it. Her eyes lit up, not with light, but with fire. They didn't blink. Her dark cloak moved without wind. She stood beside the creature. Like she had grown out of its shadow. The rest of Bravo 7 froze. No one fired. "Orders, Sarge?" Ethan whispered, but there was no answer. He turned. The others were backing away, unsure, unsettled. No one wanted to be the first to shoot. No one, except Ethan. But he didn't pull the trigger. Instead, he stepped forward. The monster's growl rose. Its claws sank into the ground. The woman's eyes narrowed. Her hand lifted halfway, as if ready to unleash something. And Ethan just stood there. "What's your name?" he asked. The growl stopped. Even the wind seemed to pause. She tilted her head. The men behind Ethan muttered in confusion. "Is he trying to negotiate?" Someone whispered, but Ethan didn't look back. He took one more step. "I'm Ethan," he said calmly. "Private, Earth Alliance. We're not here to fight unless we have to." Still, the woman didn't speak. The monster slowly stepped in front of her, blocking her completely. Its chest expanded. Its teeth gleamed. But then she placed a hand on its shoulder. The creature went still. And finally, she spoke. "Why ask? A name of someone you expect to shoot?" Ethan gave a tired smile. "Because names matter. At least where I come from." She stared at him, like she was trying to read his thoughts. Then quietly she said, "Ziraxa." The name echoed in Ethan's earpiece. The others heard it. Some cursed. Some gasped. The name was known. She was no ordinary survivor. Ziraxa, the warlord's daughter. The one who vanished during the last wave of the Galactic War. Many thought she had died in the battle that turned this planet to ash, but now she stood there, alive. And with a beast that could rip through armor like paper. Ethan lowered his rifle. "You've been hiding all this time?" he asked. "Hiding?" she said softly. "I've been watching." The squad behind Ethan started to shift again, but she raised her hand. "Don't move," she warned, her tone sharper now. "I gave your soldier a chance to speak. That doesn't mean I offer the same to the rest." Ethan glanced back, signaling his team to stand down. He turned back to Ziraxa. "We came here for answers. Are you the one sending the signal?" "No," she replied. "The signal isn't from me. It's coming from beneath us." Ethan frowned. "Beneath us?" She nodded. "Something is waking. Something none of you are ready for." Her monster growled again, softly this time, almost like a whisper. Ziraxa looked at Ethan one last time. If you want to survive, she said, you'll need more than just names. And then she turned and walked away into the shadows with the beast trailing behind. Ethan stood in silence, heart pounding, mind racing. He didn't know what was coming next, but he knew one thing for sure. This mission had just changed forever. Asterisk. The team was silent as they returned to the temporary outpost. The air was heavy with questions, and the only sound was the crunch of boots on dry dirt. Sergeant Clive walked beside Ethan, arms crossed, his expression tight. You shouldn't have done that, Clive muttered. Ethan kept his eyes ahead. She didn't attack. She could have, the sergeant snapped. That thing of hers could have torn you in half before anyone blinked. But it didn't, Ethan said calmly. She answered me. Her name is Ziraxa. Clive shook his head. You realize who she is, right? She's not just some alien survivor. She's the daughter of one of the worst warlords we ever fought. You gave her a chance to breathe. What if she breathes fire next? Ethan didn't respond. Back at camp, the science officer, Dr. Ramirez, was hunched over a glowing console. The signal, the one that brought them to this ruined planet, was growing stronger. I tracked it, she said. It's not natural. It's artificial and old. It's coming from beneath Sector 9 ruins. Clive frowned. We were just near there. And? Ramirez looked between them. Did you see anything? Ethan gave a slow nod. Yes, a woman, not human. Said the signal isn't hers, but something is waking. Ramirez's eyes widened. She knows? She said we're not ready. The sergeant slammed his hand on the table. Then maybe it's better we pack up and leave. But Ramirez turned the screen toward them. We can't. The signal is not just broadcasting, it's changing. It's rewriting frequencies, reaching other systems. If we don't stop it here, it'll spread. Silence fell again. Outside the camp, night came fast. 2 moons hovered in the sky, bathing the broken land in pale blue light. Ethan couldn't sleep. He stood watch alone, scanning the cliffs. And then, just as quietly as before, she returned. Ziraxa stood by the edge of the rocks, her eyes glowing. Faintly, her monster silent beside her. You're brave, she said softly, or very foolish. Ethan didn't aim his rifle. He nodded once. Maybe both. She studied him. You want to know what's buried here, don't you? Yes. She stepped closer. The beast followed but didn't growl. Its heavy steps shook the rocks slightly. My father built a vault. Beneath this land, she explained. Not for weapons. Not for gold. He sealed away something living, something broken. An experiment gone wrong. It was supposed to be forgotten. Ethan's heart beat faster. Why now? Why is it waking? Ziraxa looked up at the sky. Because the stars are moving again. Because the old timelines are cracking. Ethan didn't understand, but he didn't interrupt. My father thought he could control it, she continued. But when the experiment turned on him, he ordered this place burned. And vanished. And you stayed? Ethan asked. I was injured. My beast rail kept me alive. We've watched, waited, warned any who came too close. Ethan looked at the creature. It was still, but its eyes were locked on him. It listens to you. It trusts me, she said. Like you trust your men. Ethan lowered his voice. Can it stop whatever's under there? Ziraxa looked uncertain. I don't know. It feeds on commands, emotion, pain. But what's under there doesn't follow rules. It only knows hunger. Ethan stepped forward. Then help us stop it. She raised an eyebrow. You're asking me for help after your kind burned my people? Ethan looked her straight in the eyes. I'm asking you to stop it before it burns everything. The wind picked up again. Drell's nostrils flared. Tomorrow, Ziraxa said. I'll take you to the vault. But your men don't come armed. They'll never agree. Then stay behind, she warned. But know this, if we fail, it won't just destroy us. It'll spread into your stars, and your warships won't matter." She turned and vanished into the darkness once again. Next morning, Clive was furious. "You want us to go in blind?" He barked. "Unarmed?" "She's giving us a chance," Ethan said. "A way in. She's setting a trap." "Maybe," Ethan admitted. "But the signal is real. We can't ignore it. If there's even a chance she's telling the truth, we have to act." After a tense silence, Clive gave a sharp nod. "One team. No weapons. If she even breathes wrong, we pull out." Later that day, they followed Ethan and Zeraxa across the wasteland. The beast led the way, quiet and alert. And beneath them, deep in the ground, something had already begun to move. The ground felt different here, softer, warmer, as if something beneath the surface was breathing. Ethan could feel it with every step like a pulse rising from the earth. Zeraxa led the way, her dark cloak trailing behind her. The beast, Drail, stayed close at her side, sniffing the air and growling low, but not attacking. Behind Ethan, the small human team followed slowly. They carried only scanners and light tools, no weapons. Sergeant Clive had insisted on keeping the small blade hidden, but Ethan hoped they wouldn't need it. "This place is cursed," Ramirez muttered as she watched her scanner spike again. "These energy readings aren't natural." "Nothing here has been natural since the war," Ethan replied. Zeraxa stopped. She stood before a jagged hill, covered in ash and stone. It didn't look like much, just more ruin and rubble. But then she knelt and pressed her hand against a cracked slab of metal buried under sand. A faint glow appeared beneath her palm. The earth trembled. And a circular gate rose from the ground, ancient and rusted, lined with alien symbols that pulsed with light. "What is that?" Ramirez whispered. "The vault," Zeraxa said. "Built by my father, locked by blood." The gate opened with a groan that echoed through the cliffs. A long dark tunnel stretched below, disappearing into shadow. "I'll go first," Zeraxa said. "No," Ethan replied. "We go together." Zeraxa stared at him for a moment, then nodded. They stepped inside. The tunnel was narrow, the walls pulsing with soft orange light, almost like veins. The deeper they walked, the hotter it became. The air was thick, heavy. Drail stayed close, its massive form nearly brushing both walls. Despite its size, it moved quietly like a trained shadow. Suddenly, Ramirez stumbled. Her scanner buzzed like mad. "Something's wrong," she said. "There's movement ahead." Ethan gripped her shoulder. "Breathe. We move slow." A low hum began to rise ahead of them. Not from machines, but from something alive. It was a deep sound, almost like a growl, but mechanical, distorted. "Wrong. What is that?" Clive asked, his voice tight. Zeraxa didn't answer. She just kept moving. Soon, the tunnel opened into a massive chamber. The ceiling was lost in shadow. Strange cables and metal. Tendrils hung like vines from above. In the center of the room stood a massive orb, black and cracked, but glowing from within. It looked like a beating heart trapped in a metal shell. "That's it," Zeraxa whispered. "That's the core." Ramirez stepped forward cautiously. "This isn't just a machine. It's part organic." Suddenly, the orb pulsed. Hard. The shockwave knocked them all back. And then a loud shriek filled the chamber, a horrible sound that came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Lights flashed. The walls moved. Something was waking. "Back!" Clive shouted. But it was too late. The orb cracked open, and something began to crawl out. It wasn't a full creature, not yet. Just tendrils of dark flesh and metal, reaching like fingers, twisting as if tasting the air. One of the tendrils shot toward Ramirez. She screamed, but Drail was faster. The beast leaped. Between them, claws tearing into the tendril. It screeched and recoiled. Drail growled, shielding the humans with its massive body. "It's incomplete," Zeraxa shouted over the noise. "Still forming, but it senses us. We need to destroy it, Clive yelled. You can't. She snapped. You'll only make it angry. The orb pulsed again. More tendrils lashed out. The chamber shook. Debris began to fall from above. It's pulling energy from below, Ramirez said. Feeding on something underground. Ethan looked around. There had to be a way to shut it down. A weak point. A control system. But there was nothing, just chaos. We have to trap it, Ziraxa said. How? Ethan asked. There's an override panel buried behind the heart, she said. But it's sealed. I'll get to it, Ethan said. Ziraxa grabbed his arm. It's dangerous. I've come this far. She hesitated, then nodded. Take Drail. He'll clear the path. Ethan ran, Drail charging ahead. Tendrils lashed at them, but the beast tore them apart, moving like a storm of teeth and fury. Finally, they reached the far wall. A panel flickered behind a curtain of wires. Ethan reached for it. More tendrils shot forward. Drail roared, throwing itself into the mess, giving Ethan just enough time to slam his palm on the control. A bright light exploded, the orb screamed, and then silence. The tendrils froze, then crumbled into ash. The orb dimmed. The power faded. Ethan dropped to his knees, breathing hard. The chamber was quiet. He turned. Ziraxa stood at the entrance, watching. Him not with fire in her eyes, but something softer, respect, maybe even hope. They had survived. But the war wasn't over yet. The chamber was quiet now. No more growls, no more shaking walls. The broken heart of the ancient machine pulsed only once, then faded to darkness. Ethan wiped sweat from his face and looked around. The dust was still settling. Drail stood beside him, bruised but alive, its thick hide cut and steaming. The beast was breathing heavy, but it stayed still, watching Ethan closely. You saved us, Ethan whispered to it. Drail gave a soft grunt, then slowly limped back toward Ziraxa. The rest of the team was just now recovering. Sergeant Clive had a cut above his eye. Ramirez was still gripping her scanner like it was her last hope. Is it over? Clive asked. No, Ziraxa said as she stepped into the center of the chamber. That was just its shell. Its true form is deeper, locked far below. Ramirez's voice cracked. Then what did we just fight? A warning, Ziraxa said. The creature down there feeds on fear and violence. My father tried to tame it with rage and war. But you, she turned to Ethan, you didn't fight it with hate. I just wanted to protect my team, Ethan said. And that's why it hesitated, she replied. Ethan stared at the dark orb. So we go deeper? Ziraxa nodded. If we don't, it will rise on its own. And it won't stop at this planet. Clive muttered something under his breath, then said, We're low on supplies, no weapons. And now you're telling us we haven't even reached the worst part? Ramirez looked at the readings again. He's right. The deeper we go, the more unstable the energy gets. It's not just heat, it's alive down there. Ethan stood. Then we keep moving. Clive stared at him. You're serious? Do you want this thing reaching Earth? The sergeant was quiet, then finally nodded. Fine, but we rest first. They set up a makeshift camp inside. The chamber, small rations, clean water. Not much, but enough for a short break. Ethan sat down beside Ziraxa, who was tending to Drowl's wounds. You care about it, he said. He saved me when no one else would, she answered without looking up. My people left me here. I was injured, broken. Drail stayed. He's not just a pet. No, he's my brother now. Ethan studied her face. The glowing in. Her eyes had faded a little. Less fire, more depth. She wasn't what he expected, not just a warrior, not just a threat. You could have let us die up there, he said. I thought about it, she replied with a half smile. But I saw something different in you. The others. They would have drawn their guns. You asked my name. Ethan. I know. They sat in silence for a moment. Then the floor rumbled softly at first, then stronger. Everyone jumped up. Drayle stood instantly, growling deep. From the far side of the chamber, a staircase unfolded from the wall metal steps, sinking downward into pitch black. It's calling again, Xeraxa said. Ethan turned to his team. Peer up. We move now. No weapons, she reminded. I know. One by one, they descended. The steps led to a wide hall, smooth and curved, with symbols carved along the walls. Everything glowed with a soft red hue. It felt like they were walking through veins inside a living thing. Ramirez whispered, "This place isn't built, it's grown." At the end of the hall, they reached a massive circular door. Unlike the one above, this one wasn't rusted. It was alive, breathing. Its surface rippled like muscle under skin. "We shouldn't touch that," Clive said, backing up. Xeraxa stepped forward and held out her hand. The door shivered, then slowly opened. Beyond it was a black room. Number. Walls, no light. And then, something inside the dark spoke not with a voice, but with thought. "I remember you." Everyone froze. Ramirez gripped Ethan's arm. "Did you hear that?" "Yes," he said, eyes wide. Xeraxa trembled slightly. "It knows who I am." Ethan stepped forward, heart pounding. "What are you?" The voice came again, stronger now, hungry. "Forgotten, you woke me." From the shadows, two glowing eyes opened, huge, cold, deep like space. Then more lights blinked on rows of them, like stars forming teeth. The creature inside the vault was waking up. Drayle roared and stepped in front of them, but even the mighty beast looked small in this moment. Clive whispered, "We're not getting out of here, are we?" Ethan stared into the abyss and said, "Not unless we stop it." "For real this time." Xeraxa took a breath, stepped beside him, and said quietly, "Then let's end what my father started. Together." The cold breath from the dark chamber wrapped around them like fingers. Every heartbeat echoed against the living walls. The giant glowing eyes inside the void blinked once, then again slow, patient, watching. No one moved. Even Drayle, the fearless beast, stood frozen. Xeraxa took one step forward. The shadow didn't react, but Ethan reached out and gently pulled her back. "We don't know what it wants," he said softly. She shook her head. "It doesn't want, it feeds." The deep voice returned, not loud, but heavy. It pressed into their minds like a weight. "One of you carries no fear." "That is strange." Ethan swallowed and stepped into the chamber, leaving the others behind. The creature stirred. He could see it more clearly, now part flesh, part metal, coils wrapped in armor, long as a starship. Its shape was not made for light. It had no legs, no arms, just a thick body, sharp fins, and a face that shimmered like glass over bone. "I'm not here to fear you," Ethan said calmly. "I want to understand." "Understand?" the voice hissed. "You are meat. You should kneel, tremble, run." "I don't run from something just because it's bigger than me." Silence, then low laughter, like gravel sliding down metal. "You are not like the others." "No," Ethan said, "I'm not." The creature shifted. Its coils moved. The ground shook, but just slightly. Xeraxa stepped beside him. "This thing isn't a god. It's a leftover from a forgotten war." The creature's voice was sharper now. "I ended that war." "No," she said. "My father ended it. By locking you here. He betrayed me," the voice hissed. "Promised me a planet to feed, then sealed me away like trash." Ethan glanced at her. "Is that true?" Xeraxa looked ashamed. "My father, he created it. Tried to weaponize it, but it couldn't be controlled, so he lied to it. Then buried it deep beneath our cities." The creature's energy began to rise. The air turned thick, like oil in their lungs. "I will finish what was started. All of you will burn. Suddenly, tendrils lashed out from the dark. Drayle leapt forward, swiping at them, howling. Ramirez and Clive opened their gear cases, pulling out flash charges and power rods. Fall back. Ethan shouted. No, Xeraxes snapped. That only feeds it. What? Clive yelled. The fear, the panic, it makes it stronger. Ethan stood his ground. Then we do the opposite. He stepped forward again, straight into the tendrils. One wrapped around his arm, but he didn't flinch. No fear, he whispered. The tendril tightened. Heat rose, but Ethan didn't scream. He looked straight at the creature's eyes. I won't give you what you want, the beast hissed, confused. The tendril twitched, then slowly unwrapped from his arm. Xeraxa moved beside him. You fed on war. Now try something new. Try peace. Peace tastes like dust. But peace won't lock you away again, Ethan said. And it won't make the universe want to hunt you down. The creature paused. For the first time, it seemed uncertain. Then the lights around them began to shift, softening. The red glow faded to blue. The monster leaned in close. Its breath was like fire. Ethan didn't blink. If I let you live, what do I get in return? Purpose, Ethan said. A chance to be more than a mistake. Xeraxa stepped forward and placed her hand on the beast's surface. It didn't attack her. You were made to destroy. Let us help you choose something else. The beast was quiet. Then, it slowly backed away. The ground stopped shaking. The tendrils withdrew. The lights dimmed, then stabilized. Ramirez's scanner beeped softly. Power levels dropping, the chambers calming down. Clive looked. Shocked. You talked it down, Ethan exhaled. I think it made a choice. They all stood in silence, surrounded by the living walls, the ancient tech, and the creature that could have ended them. But didn't. The voice came again, but softer now. Leave me. For now. Ethan nodded. We will. But we'll be watching. In peace. The creature's eyes faded into the darkness. The chamber's door opened behind them. They stepped out slowly, one by one, back into the long hallway above. When they reached the surface, dawn was rising. The war-torn sky now held a strange peace. Xeraxa looked at Ethan. You did what no warrior could, she said. He shook his head. I just asked a question. She smiled faintly. That might have saved us all. The air outside the temple felt different, lighter, but still uneasy. As the group reached the dusty surface again, the clouds above shifted. Slowly, like they too were holding their breath. Xeraxa walked beside Ethan in silence. Drayle followed behind her, still limping from the earlier fight. Ramirez kept looking back at the temple, while Sergeant Clive checked their rations and coms. Still in disbelief. We're alive, Ramirez whispered. Yeah, Clive said. But something tells me this isn't over. Ethan paused on a high ridge overlooking the valley. From this point, the temple looked ancient again, just a ruin in the ground. But he could still feel the presence beneath, like a giant heart still beating low and slow. What if it changes its mind? Clive asked. It won't, Ethan said. Not unless someone gives it a reason to. But then Xeraxa spoke, her voice sharper now. That's what I fear. Someone will come looking for it. The group turned to her. My people, she continued. The war may be over, but factions still exist. And if they find out it's awake, they'll try to use it again. To make another weapon? Ramirez asked. Yes, Xeraxa replied. And if they do, this time it won't stop. They camped near a collapsed shuttle the soldiers had used to land. The engine was damaged, and the long-range signal was too weak to reach command. Clive and Ramirez worked to patch what they could, but it would take days. Ethan sat beside a small heat lamp as the night grew colder. Xeraxa sat across from him, her hands folded, eyes glowing just a little again. You weren't afraid down there, she said softly. I was, he admitted, but I didn't let it win. She nodded, then looked up. Where I come from, strength means domination. We were taught that fear controls. That if others fear you, they'll obey. But it didn't work on you. I've seen enough war to know it doesn't end well, Ethan said. There's always someone left to bury the bodies. Drayle growled low beside them, sensing something in the wind. A few seconds later, a sharp buzz filled the night air. Ramirez looked up from the comms unit. Something's jamming us. Clive ran out from the shuttle. Movement in the sky. Ethan grabbed his scanner and looked up. Two small crafts, unmarked, sleek, alien, were dropping fast, lights off, weapons hot. Get to cover, he shouted. The ships didn't fire, but they landed quickly, sending dust and heat across the ridge. From their sides, 6 alien soldiers stepped out tall, armored, moving with purpose. One of them, wearing silver plates and a glowing red mask, stepped forward. Commander Zrael, Ziraxa whispered in horror. You know him? Ethan asked. He served under my father. He's worse than him. Zrael's voice cut through. The wind. By order of the High Command, you are all under arrest for trespassing on sacred ground. And you, Ziraxa, you were declared dead. Seems that was too generous. Ziraxa stepped forward. This ground belongs to no one. And that thing below is not sacred. It's dangerous. Zrael laughed. Exactly. And we came to reclaim it. He raised a signal rod high into the air and activated it. Deep below, in the temple, a low rumble answered. You woke it? Ethan shouted. It's not yours to command. We built it. Zrael barked back. And we will make it kneel. Again. Ramirez activated the last EMP grenade and rolled it toward the rod. It exploded with a soft thump, knocking the rod offline. But it was too late. The ground beneath them cracked. A pulse shot up through the valley. The creature had felt the call, and now it was waking again. Everyone run. Ethan shouted. Ziraxa pulled Ethan by the arm. We have to go back down. What? If we don't stop it again, it'll rise and destroy everything. Zrael's soldiers opened fire, not just on the humans, but on Ziraxa too. Drayle roared and charged into the line of fire, his claws glowing with fury. Ethan, Clive, and Ramirez ducked behind cover. We can't fight both them and the beast, Clive yelled. Ethan looked at the ruins. No, but maybe the beast can. Ziraxa's eyes widened. You want to use it? No, Ethan said. I want to reason with it again. You won't survive this time. He looked at her and said, Then tell it who I am. Reminded, I didn't flinch. She stared at him a moment, then nodded. And together, under the rising moon, they turned toward the opening temple, its great doors groaning back to life, knowing what was waiting beneath, and that this time, the monster might not listen. The temple doors groaned open again, revealing a tunnel now pulsing with red light. The ground shook beneath their feet. From behind them, the sound of energy blasts echoed. Zrael's soldiers were still fighting to control the ridge, pushing closer. Ethan and Ziraxa moved quickly into the temple, dodging falling stone and shaking dust. Ramirez and Clive stayed behind to delay the enemy, with Drayle standing like a wall of fury between the humans and the invaders. Inside the chamber, the beast was awake. Its massive coils glowed. Its fins scraped the walls, shaking the very bones of the ancient place. Its eyes burning gold locked onto the two who dared return. Ethan took one step forward. We didn't come to fight, he said, loud enough to echo across the walls. The voice of the creature boomed in their minds. You brought war to me. I feel betrayal. I feel rage. They came to take you again, Ziraxa shouted. But not us. We came to stop them. I remember your fearlessness. But now others call me. They want to use you like a weapon, Ethan said. Do you want to be used again? Chained? There was silence, then a low rumble, like growling thunder. Outside, the ground split near the ridge. Zuriel stumbled back as tendrils of energy rose from the valley floor. His soldiers aimed and fired, but the energy swallowed their weapons. Then, "Give me purpose," the beast said, slower now. "If not war." "Then what?" Ethan looked into its eyes. "Protection. Protection." "From what?" The beast replied, almost curious now. "From those who would enslave you again," Ziraxa answered. "From tyrants like Zrael. Help us stop them, and we'll leave you in peace. Forever." The beast was still. Its coils stopped moving. Then, like a mountain shifting, it rose from the chamber floor taller than anything Ethan had seen. It slid through the walls like liquid metal, heading toward the surface. Ethan and Ziraxa ran after it. By the time they reached the ridge, the sky had turned purple with storm clouds. The creature's giant form erupted from the earth like a titan, its body crackling with energy. Zrael stared up in horror. "No nitrogen monoxide, I me." But the beast didn't listen to him. It had made its choice. With one sweep of its tail, it sent Zraal's ship flying into the mountains. A single roar knocked half his soldiers unconscious. The rest dropped their weapons and ran. Ramirez stood back, stunned. "It's helping us?" Drayle let out a proud howl. Clive exhaled slowly. "That thing just saved our lives." Ethan stepped forward. "You made the right choice," he said to the towering creature. The beast turned its great head, one golden eye focusing on him. "You did not kneel. You did not run, so now I protect you." Then it slowly lowered itself into the earth again. The ground closed gently behind it, as if nothing had happened. The red light faded. The sky calmed. Peace. Later that night, around a small fire, the team sat in silence. Ziraxa looked into the flames. "You changed its fate," she whispered. "And maybe mine too." Ethan looked at her. "What will you do now?" She smiled faintly. "I was raised to command fear, but now I've seen another path. I want to learn more, from your kind." Ramirez handed her a flask. "Then you better stick with us, princess." Clive laughed. "She's no princess, she's a warrior." Drayle grunted in agreement. Ethan stood, looking at the valley where the creature had gone back to sleep. "Let's make sure no one ever wakes it again." Ziraxa walked beside him. "Do you think it will rest forever?" "I think it will listen. To the right voice." She turned toward him. "And you think that voice is yours?" He looked at her, smiling softly. "Maybe not just mine, maybe yours too." The stars above burned bright, and somewhere deep beneath them, a monster slept, not as a slave, not as a god, but as something new. A protector. And all because one human didn't ask it to kneel. He just asked its name.